All right, everyone, we're just going to be waiting for the man, the myth, the legend, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to be joining us soon. I'm Adam Bornstein, and I am the Chief Nutrition Officer at Ladder, and I will be taking Arnold through this Monday, Monday motivation conversation. It's not really morning anymore. Well, it feels like morning for me, but it'll be pretty awesome to have Arnold join us very shortly here. So just seeing Arnold joining in here, so he should be jumping on with us in a minute. Appreciate all the comments, all the love coming in. Arnold,
hey,
how you doing?
how are you? Terrific, thank you. How's it going with you?
It is going well. How is your Monday going?
So far, so good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think I need to ask because the internet has new sensations. I need to know how Whiskey and Lulu are doing.
Whiskey and Lulu, well, they just were hanging out with me. I've been spending a lot of time with them because now we have some extra time available, right? So
Right.
when I get up in the morning around 6:30, I go and I open up the stall. I let them out. Then I have to clean them up and brush them off because they always look like a mess in the morning, full of sawdust and the wood chips because they roll around on the ground or they lie down during the night. I don't know what they do because it's like all around their body. It's just a mess. So I have to brush it off and that always creates a scene because that's when they like to bite me or kind of kick me and stuff like that. You know, they like to play around. And then I get a bucket and then I start feeding them. So that's the usual routine that I have in the morning. But they're wonderful and they're fun to play with and to hang out with. They come always in here when I have breakfast and lunch and dinner. But they're very playful. You know, they just love playing and running around and doing crazy things.
I feel that they eat more of your food than their own food. Every time I see you with them, I feel they're eating oatmeal cookies or something you have in the kitchen.
Well, it happens to be that they like dark bread, so they like dark stuff. They don't like light bread, so it's really interesting that you can give them some white bread and they totally refuse it. And then when you have like pumpernickel bread or dark corn bread and stuff like that, they love it. And they also love oatmeal. So a lot of times after I'm finished eating my oatmeal on purpose, I leave some oatmeal in the dish so they can go and feel like they're stealing my oatmeal. And then I let them kind of eat it out of the dish. Or I feed them oatmeal cookies, and they love also oatmeal cookies. And they're very picky. There's other cookies they don't like, but oatmeal cookies they like. Especially the one that my daughter makes. Catherine made yesterday for me like 20 really chunky, wonderful oatmeal cookies that I like. So when I go on a bike ride, I ride by her house in Santa Monica and just pick it up in the morning early because I know she bakes early in the morning. And then I pick up the cookies. So I brought them home. So of course, Lulu immediately smelled the oatmeal cookies. So she has a special nose. So she came running into the kitchen. And then from then on, I couldn't get rid of her. I had to give her some of the oatmeal cookies.
Right. I bring up Whiskey and Lulu because obviously it's great seeing you smiling so much and everyone else trying to bring joy during a time that I think is really difficult for a lot of people, not only those who are getting sick, but those losing their jobs. What do you tell people about what they can do during this time?
Well, I think, everyone has their own list of things, a bucket list of things that they always wanted to do. I mean, for me, I always say to myself, I think it would be great if I would have enough time one time to just sit here and watch all the documentaries that I always wanted to watch. I watch documentaries and I watch movies and I watch the news and all of this stuff, but you always feel like there's just so much out there, so much content out there that you would like to kind of see. And but everyone has different needs. Some people feel like, my wish list always was to spend more time with my family. So then that's what you should do. Play with your, if you're old like my age, you play with your grandkids maybe, or with your kids, or and have a good time that way, and hang out with your parents if you still have parents and all this stuff. So everyone has a different kind of a wish list of things that they wish they could do. And I, for instance, wanted to watch more documentaries. So I'm just sitting here and watching, just last weekend I was watching The Warlords, which is about the Second World War, with Franklin Roosevelt being one of the warlords, and then Stalin and Churchill. And it's about, how they have all, when it got, even in the beginning of the war, how they started in their own minds, started dividing up the world after the war is over, and
right.
how they were fighting not just to crush Germany, but actually how they sometimes wanted to pull back on Germany and not crush them, because they felt like, well, maybe we are just switching one evil empire with another, meaning the Russians, because Stalin was a ruthless kind of a warrior and warlord. And so they were concerned about that. So this whole documentary about how did Churchill feel, how did Roosevelt feel, how did they get along, and how did they kind of sometimes ace out Churchill. And it was just between discussions between Roosevelt and Stalin and all of that. So it was really interesting. Or it's a 4-part series. I would recommend it highly. Then sometimes you switch over and say, I want to see something sport. I remember I grew up, for instance, with Sonny Liston, and as the world champion boxer when he beat Floyd Patterson. And then Ali came along, and then he beat Sonny Liston, and he became kind of the new rising star. So then you wanted to watch that period when you were a kid watching those fights. And then all of a sudden one leads to the next, and then you start ending up watching all the Ali fights, and then that makes you jump over and say, oh, is there maybe a documentary of all the historic UFC fights? So then you watch all of that stuff. So this is how I go. But right now I'm interested in, I'm also watching some interesting shows like Waco, about that whole religious commune that was kind of attacked by our federal government.
Right, David Koresh.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people felt like unjustly so. And, and I think that's what the movie's about, how they made a mistake and not let the negotiators negotiate, but just went in there with pure muscles and crushed them and all that kind of stuff. So the Ozarks is another series that I've been really enjoying, watched all 3 seasons, I should say. And that was really fun also, and Narcos and all this, there's all this stuff that's coming up. Or for instance, movies, the great Siegfried, the guy that had the circus and that there was a big showman, and then all these big plays and on Broadway and all that stuff. And 2 nights ago, we watched Bad Boys 3, which was also a fun one to watch, because I think these guys are really great comedians and all that. The Judgment at Nuremberg which is a black and white movie with Spencer Tracy and Maximilian Schell, and great actors throughout. And that was really a fun movie. And then a crazy movie that I saw in the 70s and I wanted to always see again, which was the Man in the Glass Booth with Maximilian Schell star. So that's the kind of things that I've been watching, and I think people should watch some of those movies. But that's what I do.
I think you just gave people programming for the next couple of weeks, and people can now be covered depending on how long they read home. How important do you think that is to find positives during a time where it's easy to focus on the negatives? Are you seeing a lot of positives, either yourself personally or with what people are doing to help others out during a difficult time?
Well, I think that, I think it's clear that this is a very unique and unusual time. And it's something that no one really expected. I think that last December, when we were celebrating Christmas, we didn't have the foggiest idea that this is going to happen. Right. Even though there was this outbreak in China at that time, and there's some people that felt like, wow, this could be coming. It could become a pandemic. It could go to other countries. But no one thought that it's going to be to that extent. And so here we are. And I think, but whenever there's a crisis, there's great opportunities also. And even though this is very, very difficult for a lot of people, it's not as difficult for me because, I have a wonderful house and I have my home gym and I go out on my bike rides every day and I work out in the evening with the weights here at home and I have the animals, But some people, for them, it's not just, what do I do with my time? But there's a lot of people out there that are struggling and trying to figure out how do they put food on the table.
Right.
And so, I've really felt bad for those people because now you have to get very creative. And, then again, there's people that have come up to me when I had discussions with them and they were telling me that now they used to be an Uber driver and now they're delivering food. So they switched very quickly their gears and learned that there are new jobs becoming available because of this crisis. Jobs that were not available before. Where there's more food delivery going on now from grocery stores to restaurants to coffee shops and pizza parlors, hamburger joints and stuff like that. Well, all of this food has to be delivered. People sometimes pick it up. In most cases, it gets delivered. So there's a lot of people now driving and having jobs as drivers delivering food. So while they're out of work, they at least can make a living and they at least can provide some food for their family and stuff like that. So that's, I think, what you have to do. You have to be quick in improvising. Sitting around at home and just feeling sorry for yourself doesn't work because this has never gotten any money into your house, nor did it ever get you a job. So I think that I would not recommend. And I think that even we have adjusted, like for instance, I always, donate money to various different causes, but now you have to be more creative. Like we have, we have the after school programs and now the kids get sent home. This has never happened in the 27 years of those after school programs that kids all of a sudden are not allowed in school.
Right.
And so now the question was, okay, what can we do now instead of doing the after school program? So we decided that the need that people have is food. There's a lot of, people that are not that well off, that are in need and that need food. And so we just put together a fundraiser and TikTok, for instance, has helped us with, raising money for the after school program for our food giveaway. And so we are giving away groceries and we make those kids responsible for that. So this is like a great learning lesson, just instead of sitting in the classroom and doing academic work and doing their homework and stuff like that. Now we are teaching them how to go and pack the groceries and how to keep themselves clean, how to wash their hands every hour, and how to keep masks on, and how to protect everyone around them, and how to protect themselves, and how to fill those groceries in those bags, and how to put them in the delivery cars. And there's some person that is old enough that drives them through the neighborhood and deliver food. So these are the kind of things that we are doing now. And like I said, we were very fortunate to get from TikTok $3 million. We put in some of our own money, and the monies that are being used for after school programs are now being used for that. And so, we try to make the adjustment as much as Ed Norton and I got together and started raising money to provide masks and gear for hospitals, specifically in the Los Angeles area. If it is, St. John's Hospital, or if it's the Martin Luther King Hospital, or UCLA, or whatever it is, hospitals in Los Angeles that were short on gear, we wanted to approve that instead of just sitting around and complaining about government not doing enough or are not fast enough, we went and ordered the stuff. And we paid for the airplanes, for the cargo planes to fly from overseas and to bring the gear here to America. And so, those are the kind of things that we do. And that's what everyone can do. There's people that need help. And there's great, great work that's going on from various different people. So I'm very proud, actually, when I look around and when I look at the news of how many positive things that are going on while this suffering is also going on at the same time.
Right. You mentioned the need to adapt a lot. And I know that you are a man who is all about habits, routines, rituals, and how important has that been for you? And how much have you had to adjust your own rituals? I know that when I'm in LA, I would see you at Gold's, every morning routinely. You obviously can't go there anymore. You have ways to work out, but how have you adjusted or fallen back on some of those habits that you've built over the years?
Well, it's a very good question. But as you know, I am a creature of habits and of rituals and routines. But they're not 24 hours a day.
Right.
So there's only certain things where I feel like this is what you should do automatically every day without thinking. That's basically what I'm talking about. Is you don't think about working out anymore and just do it and make this part of your routine. You don't think about it. You roll out of bed and you go and work out, or you go on your bike ride, whatever. So those things stay the same, because to me, my ritual is to go on a bike ride. But it doesn't matter if it is exactly the same bike or if it is a different route that I'm taking. Our Wi-Fi maybe is a little off here. We want to check that out. I'm frozen.
Let's see.
And he's frozen also.
We still have you. You're just frozen.
Yeah, okay.
You're good.
Just okay, fine. So you see me and you see me moving and everything.
I don't see you moving, but I see a beautiful static.
Okay, so therefore the Wi-Fi. Just put in Wi-Fi.
Let's get it going.
Okay.
You're on.
I'm not on Wi-Fi. Now I'm on Wi-Fi.
Yep.
You did it with Wi-Fi. So now we have Wi-Fi.
This is why we made all the Terminator films. We knew the machines would let us down. So we wait. We're going to try and get Arnold back on here, up and live. Looks like we got a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. All right, so we're going to give Arnold a moment to try and jump back on, get his Wi-Fi back up, and then have him share with us more about his habits. And he was breaking down how even when routine is thrown off, obviously it's to fall back on the action or the behavior itself. And it's a great time to mention that later today, before all of the physical distancing and stay at home went into effect, we did a long interview with Arnold that we will be sharing with all of you later today on the Ladder channel. It's about a 50-minute interview where we go into everything about his habits, his routines, and everything. Arnold, you are back.
I'm back. I told you I'll be back. But anyway, so we were talking in the middle of routines and stuff like that. And like I said, the routine is still the same. Nothing has changed much, because I still get up in the morning and do my bike riding. I still do my workouts with the weights.
Right.
I just, instead of doing it in Gold's Gym, I do it sometimes when I'm out there, to just use rubber bands and to do a creative workout that way. Or sometimes I put weights on my, as I showed, that way I put weights on my truck, on my military truck, and drive them out there somewhere and unload them, and then work out right there and do like 20 different exercises with that weight and just with that particular weight. And I just make it up as I go along. So that always, so it's still a routine to work out every day and to do that. But the only thing that really changes then is to do what you do the rest of the day. So instead of just flying around now and going to the Arnold Classic in 5 different continents, I don't do that, and I just stay at home and do certain work at home and read more scripts, and like I said, watch more documentaries, read more, and then also do much more kind of communicating with various different people that I haven't talked to for a while. Because the great thing is we have FaceTime now,
Right.
and we have Zoom now, and so all of the meetings that we have, I've been put on a commission by Governor Newsom for the Economic Recovery Commission here in California. So we do with all the ex-governors, with Wilson and with Jerry Brown and Gray Davis and myself and all those guys. We are on the phone and we are on Zoom, and then talk about the economic recovery and what are the kind of ways to go about it. When do we bring back, for instance, selective surgeries, which they just did this last week, which was our recommendation, and how do we bring back the restaurant business again, and the movie business and sports events and all that. So you do all of this kind of work through Zoom and through FaceTime, and so that those are the kind of things that then change.
Right. Is there anything in particular, obviously, other than the habits, that help keep you motivated with all of your health and fitness goals? How do you keep that fire, whether it is difficult times or as we age or people get busy? You are as consistent as anyone I've ever seen. But what is behind just that push to stay healthy, to stay fit?
Well, Adam, you and I, we've talked about this many times. I look at the orders a little bit differently than most people. Like, right. I don't need the fire as much as I don't need the fire to go to sleep at night. I go to sleep at night because that's what we do. Right. And then I enjoy it. I lie in bed, I watch a bit of TV or whatever. And then eventually you wipe out, and then you wake up in the morning at 6, and then you go about your daily routine. And the same is with working out. I don't need this extra fire to go and to be able to work out. It's a routine. It's like I have great joy always when I have the weights in front of me. It's just, I think the only thing that has changed, it's important to mention, is that in the last 10 years, especially, maybe 20 years, I felt like the objective, the way it used to be, there was more joy because every set and every rep you did was kind of about getting better, getting stronger, getting more muscular, having growth in your muscles, looking better, slimmer waist, wider shoulders, broader shoulders, fuller chest, and all this kind of stuff. Now It's kind of survival mode. It's kind of a different kind of so you have to kind of switch gears, because you know that the set that you're doing today is not going to make your arms go from 18 to 19. It's going to, how do I hold on to 18? You know what I'm saying? And so that's already a pitiful situation when you had one of them 22-inch arms that you now are trying to hold on to 18-inch arms type of a thing. So that's the weird thing. And so, but I mean, I find great joy still that to really drive and to train to hold on to what you have as long as you can, because we all know that the testosterone level disappears and you don't produce as much testosterone when you get older and all this stuff. So with all those challenges, when everyone kind of like shrivels up the older they get, you're trying to hold on to that and prove, the opposite, that you can hold on to a good body, that you can hold on to a firm stomach and a strong back and strong legs and strong arms and do the things. So that's what the training is all about. So that's what I do. And I also get a little bit extra motivation because, we are right now negotiating various different films. And so when we get through this crisis, then I will be doing another film. And of course, whenever you do another film, there will be action in it, right? So I want to make sure that I can do the action. It doesn't matter if it's a sword fight or if it is a gun battle or a physical battle or, jumping off something and all that stuff. So you want to be able to do those things. Of course, we have a lot of stunt people that are helping you with those things, but there's nothing better than you doing as much as you can yourself. And the only way we can do that is if we train, if I do my flexibility exercises, my stretching exercises every day, and I do my weight training every day, my cardiovascular training every day, and all of those kind of things. So that's what I do. And I still feel at the same time kind of like trying to be a motivator for people and motivate them that they should keep exercising every day.
Yeah, that's so important. You mentioned a little bit about how your perspective has shifted a little bit. Is there anything you would tell your younger self looking back now, given what you have gained and learned?
Well, I tell you, it's a strange thing when I say that, but I am amazed, in all honesty, today, when I look back, how I was that driven and how I was that focused that at the age of 18, I won the junior European championships in bodybuilding. And that within a year later, with 19, I go to London, the Mr. Universe contest, and place second. With the age of 19, you know, I was like a boy.
Right.
And then with the age of 20, to become the youngest Mr. Universe ever in the history of bodybuilding. So it's crazy. So today I'm kind of like, instead of saying, okay, what I should have done is this or that, or I should have made this corrections, or I should have trained lighter with more reps. So, you know, I shouldn't have been as chubby when I was 21, where I lost against Frank Zane in Miami. You know, I don't see myself giving, you know, to do that. I just really, I'm amazed of how, of an iron will that I had, and how much fire I had in the belly, and how much drive that I had, and how clear my focus was, and how clear my vision was to become the greatest bodybuilder of all times. And it was like in me 24 hours a day, and every move was going in that direction. So that, to me, that's amazing, because I always try to explain to people how to focus that much and how to be successful. And so, you know, a lot of times I'm just amazed myself how focused I was, and I have to remind myself of that.
Right. All right. One final question here, Arnold. And I guess for a lot of people, they look at you for just that inspiration, that fire. You've been successful in so many different things that you've done, whether it is the bodybuilding, the acting, the politician, the activism and philanthropy, helping out with the after-school programs and the environment. Is there something that you feel connects all of those successes?
I think that one kind of leads to the next. I think that I would have not been successful in any of it if I wouldn't have come to America. I think America was really showed to me that if you're willing to work hard, you can make it. Not that there's a guarantee that everyone will make it to the extent that I made it,
right?
But that you make it.
Yeah.
And because there was really no one in America that held me back, or that's you know, that kind of derailed me or anything like that. It was just like a country that received me with open arms, and always were helpful. If you think about, you know, without Joe Weider, who was the publisher of the muscle magazines way back then, that brought me to America, and without the trainers that I had over here, and Joe Gold and Vince Gironda, and the people that helped me with the training, and Joe Weider, and the bodybuilders like Frank Zane and Sergio Oliva and Dave Draper and, you know, Chet Yorton and Franco Colombo, and all those guys training with me and helping me. It's extraordinary. I mean, you know, I think without that, without America, I would have never made it to where I am today. But then besides being in the number one country in the world, in the land of opportunities, it was also, I think, bodybuilding itself helped me so much, because everything that I learned from bodybuilding, you know, the discipline, the visualization of the goal, making sacrifices, and staying with the program, and being able to listen to people that were smarter, to give me advice, and not to be stubborn and get stuck just with my own routine, and to have an idol like Reg Park and all the stuff that I learned in bodybuilding helped me then to use it exactly the same way in acting. When I got into acting, I said to myself, okay, I have to train 5 hours a day, just like in bodybuilding. And I have to go, and no stone unturned. So I have to go and take English lessons and speech lessons and acting lessons and accent removal lessons and all of this kind of stuff. And I just trained and trained and trained in that. And then eventually I was successful also in that. So this, I think, it's in the same way as in the political arena. I think what you learn in sports is extremely important for everything that you do in life. And so I'm very thankful to the bodybuilding sport that I have had that, so because I learned so much from that.
Right. Thank you. Amazing. And I appreciate you taking the time. As I mentioned when you stopped off, we've got an entire interview that we recorded, obviously, before all of the physical distancing was in place that we will be sharing with everyone on the Ladder channel later today. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you continue to keep things light and keep us optimistic and sharing Lulu and whiskey with us. So thank you again, Arnold.
Well, thank you very much, Adam. You've been a champion and you've done great work, so keep up the good work. Thank you.